It's important to understand why the West and China are rushing to Africa. The West here represents the United States and countries in the European Union. And China, of course, not a Western country, but it's a superpower to be reckoned with. And they are all rushing to Africa. So it's important to understand what is the reason for this rush. It's clearly economics. As you can see, the continent is endowed with natural resources, abundant natural resources like none other. No other continent in the world has the natural resources, or even half the natural resources of Africa. And this is the reason why the West and China and maybe other bigger countries like Brazil are rushing to Africa and making friends with the continent because they want a piece of the pie and they want to also reap the benefits of the abundance of African natural resources. All right, so let's take a closer look at this. So Africa then represents 17% of the world's population. That's it, 17% of the world's population. That translates into 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion Africans, 17% of the world's population. Now, that's not a lot of people occupying the continent. There's a lot of room for many other things. Agriculture, there's, oceans around. It has two major oceans, the Indian and Atlantic Ocean, sandwiching the continent. And it has, vast forest lands, all kinds of species, animal species can be found in the continent, especially in Madagascar, which is right here. Let's come to the map here. Madagascar is right here, a very rich country in terms of natural resources. A lot of species out there. Researchers flock to this country to, study the different species that are bound within these borders. So 17% of the world's population, but occupying a huge land. Now, let me just give you a sense of how huge the continent is. For example, Canada, which is the second largest country in the world, can fit into Africa 3 times, right? So Canada is right here. All of this is Canada. All of this is Canada. And this country, then the second largest, only second to Russia, can fit into Africa 3 times, right? And Canada is a very big country. It's a very huge country, a very long country as well. But it can fit into Africa 3 times. The UK can fit into Africa 120 times. So UK, if we can find it in this map, is somewhere here, perhaps here. And it can fit into the continent 120 times. 120 times the UK. That's how big the continent is. And the US, which is right here, this is the US, and China, and this is China, which is a big country, China, India, which is bordering China, India is here, as well as Europe. So all of Europe is here, and also Japan. We come here and look for Japan, and Japan should be somewhere here, and these countries then and the continent of Europe can fit into Africa all at the same time with room left over. That's how big the continent is. So that gives you a sense of the enormity of the continent in terms of landmass, but again, only occupied by 1.2 billion Africans. This is one of the attractions. Not a lot of people occupying the land, and so it has room for farming, for agricultural products, vast forest lands, a lot of species, crested by 2 oceans. It's an attraction. All right, so another reason then it's an attraction is 50% of the world's gold supply can be found in the continent. 50% of the world's gold supply can be found on the continent. This is a lot of gold we're talking about, a lot of supply we're talking about. Some of it can be found in Ghana, which is right here. Ghana is used to be called Gold Coast, now called Ghana. It has a lot of gold deposits. It can be found in South Africa as well, which is rich in natural resources, gold and diamonds, and what have you. It can be found in this country. 75% of manganese, of the world's manganese mineral, can be found in the continent. 75% can be found in the continent. This is huge. This is significant. 70%. So the entire world is left to share 25%, while Africa has 75%. Again, another reason why the continent is attractive. The Western countries and China are interested in Africa for these reasons. 35% of the world's uranium can be found. 35% of the world's uranium can be found on the continent. This is also very significant, especially for nuclear weapon enrichment. The countries that have nuclear weapons, and we have many countries with nuclear weapons today. We have Israel, we have China, we have Pakistan, we have India, which borders Pakistan, France, UK, United States, North Korea, perhaps Iran, building up to it. These countries have gone to acquire uranium. Now, some of them must have gone to Congo, which is in Central Africa, to acquire this very precious material, uranium. 35% of the world's uranium deposits on the continent. 75% of the world's coltan can be found on the continent. Now, what is coltan? Very important mineral and used for electronic items, cell phones, for example, radios, television, etc. We have billions of cell phones, and that means everyone has coltan in their hands. Whenever you pick up your cell phone, you're picking up coltan. Now, where can you find this mineral? In Congo. Right? Congo has lots of it. So we're talking about 75% of the world's coltan deposit can be found on the continent. And then, of course, we are talking about almost 10%, 9.6% of the global oil output can be found on the continent. 9.6%, almost 10% can be found on the continent. It can be found in Libya, can be found in Nigeria, which is the biggest oil producer on the continent. Can be found in Angola, which is in Southern Africa. Can be found in Equatorial Guinea. Can be found in Ghana as well, and many other countries around the continent. 9.6% of global oil output can be found on the continent of Africa. This is very significant. And then 90% of the world's platinum supply, 90%, can be found on the continent. The world is left to share just 10%, while Africa has 90% of the world's platinum. This is unprecedented. This is huge. This is remarkable. 90%. And then 70% of the world's cocoa output can be found on the continent. 70%. And most of it can be found in Ghana, which is in West Africa, and Ivory Coast, which borders Ghana, or Cote d'Ivoire in French, which borders Ghana. These two countries have lots of cocoa products. They're rich in cocoa. They supply cocoa around the world, and 70% of the world's cocoa output can be found in Africa, most of them in these two countries of Ghana and Ivory Coast, neighboring countries. And then, of course, 90% of the world's cobalt supply can be found on the continent. 90%. And the world is left with just 10%, just like the platinum supply. The world is left with just 10%, while 90% is on the continent. This is the reason why the West and China are rushing to Africa, for economic reasons, to get a piece of the pie, to benefit from these natural resources. And China especially is really into the continent with this Beltway initiative, building infrastructure, roads and highways and airports and what have you and so forth, and in the process benefiting from the natural resources of the continent. Huge natural resources that we are talking about. This is the reason why the West and China are very, very interested in Africa, and this is the reason why Africa will remain relevant to the world, because it has these natural deposits of mineral that the world needs, and the world is looking towards Africa in this knowledge economy, in this globalization efforts. This is why Africa is attractive.